talk about some. This will be fun because we can talk about a little bit of on-brand stuff. We played some games of Modern this last week, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed playing Paper Modern with you. I hadn't done that in so long.
I agree with that. It was really cool. It was fun because like right before COVID started, I did like a big update to Jundin Blue White, and then COVID happened. I literally it was after Reno because I had bought new cards, I got some new stuff to own, and then I hadn't played it in a while, and then just hadn't touched them. And then halfway through over the summer, I think I took them out and laid them out because I was looking for other cards. I really love these two decks a lot, and it sucks that I haven't been able to play it. We got to play them. I jammed some games. You were close to winning one of them. I think maybe did you win? You won one. You won one. There was a victory. There was I have this game.
You wiped that smug look off your face, you jerk. I was playing all bad cards, and you were playing good cards.
You chose half of the bad cards.
I hate the style of deck you play so much. It burns me so hard that everything you draw generates incremental advantage and value. It's so difficult for me. I just look at it stop doing that. I need to stop everything, but I can't. Setting.
Yeah, it's weird because you play way more counter magic than I do. In many ways, you play more answers than I do in the decks you play. You just don't play good ways to get more of them. Because you play
the original version of that deck that I was playing Blood Moon. I was playing 2 copies of Blood Moon in the main deck. Mm-hmm. Just because get down a 4/4 and then stifle the trigger or whatever, and then just Blood Moon, and now I have a threat kind of a thing.
Sure.
But anyway, you guys can go check it out. It's on the channel. The other thing that we did, and again, this is really magic-y content in our pre-show, which normally is not the case.
Oh, I might just post this as a regular thing, and we might do a different pre-show because we're talking about magic. So tell me about the other. What the deck you played? What was it doing? What for people that didn't watch the video, which you can watch right now?
Well, we previewed Pact of the Titan, Monastery Swiftspear, Old Border, sick, and Dead Gone. And so the challenge was that I had to build a deck that had all 3 cards. And so I built this Delver Pact deck. I had a couple years ago. I had messed around with a similar deck, but because the Swiftspear is in instead of Goblin Guides, changed around a few cards. Tail's End was a great addition to the deck. There's a few things in there. There's some spice. There's an Isochron Scepter because I play 4 Angel's Grace. And even just getting Lightning Bolt on Scepter, it's a good way to win the game sometimes. So yeah, it's kind of a Delver deck. Delver's not very good in Modern. I think I know you think Delver's bad in general, but I think there are some situations that the card is good.
I think Delver is good in formats where you have access to Wasteland and Daze and Force of Will, right? I think 1-drop into land destruction and counter magic that you'll never be able to get through, while this 1 mana 3/2 flyer that you can't really block kills you in a format that people don't really run creature removal is great. I thought it was also good in Standard with Ponder, where you're able to consistently set it up that was a 3/2, and there just wasn't anything in the format that was able to really get in front of it before it killed you. I think that in Modern, a format where of the top 5 most played cards in its history and consistently are Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, Path to Exile, that a 3/2 flyer for 1 that doesn't do anything isn't good enough. And the counter magic isn't good enough, right? Remand into 3-drop counterspell is something, but even then it's not consistent enough, and there's not good ways to you don't have Brainstorm to guarantee you're going to flip your card and get good card selection. So I just think it's without Ponder and Preordain, and in a format that is all the removal you could ever want exists, and that's the first level, right? We're not even at the K commands and the abrupt decays and the assassin's trophies and the random planeswalkers that kill creatures. There's just so many ways to kill creatures in Modern because the format is so creature centric that how does Delver compete with the deck Infect?
Agreed. I think that's the big realization, right? Is and that's the tough thing about that deck is that even you're getting a Delver or you're getting a Pact, like a 4/4 on turn 1. If you set it up with Angel's Grace on turn 2, is fine if they can't kill your 4/4. But if they can kill your 4/4, you need to you have to turn the corner basically. You have to both pay 2 cards for a good threat, but then also pay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a fun deck. We'll post the.
Yeah, I do think the Pact side is a more interesting so you keep trying to move on, but my plan is to use this as the piece of modern content that we're going to release, so that I'm not going to edit, so all of our listeners are going to hear this. So that's why I want to do a deep dive into the deck that we made. And then I'm going to end this recording, start a new recording, and then that'll be the Patreon video. So those who don't know, watching this, patrons get a whole like 20-minute thing at the beginning of every episode for $5. That's exclusive to them. It's and not often about Magic. We talk about movies and other things. So definitely check that out. But about this, and me just wanting to talk crap about Delver. Yeah, I think that like I actually think there's a lot of things your deck was doing that's really cool. Like I think that Angel Grace plus Pact of the Titan by itself is even interesting. Like there were turns where you could like Pact, Snapcaster Pact on turn 2, and then just Angel's Grace on turn 3. And I also think Gideon's really well positioned right now. So I think that shell of the deck was really good. And even Swiftspear at one point was like attacking me for like 4 every turn. So I think even Swiftspear in the deck wasn't doing bad things because your deck's game plan was to like use your counter magic on your upkeep. Right, it like Swiftspear lets you take an extra advantage of like using your cards that could be interaction, but you have to use it on your turn to not die to things you were playing. It was doing stuff. I think specifically Delver is a holdover from a different format or a different era, and I think that like there's a way to maximize some of the stuff you were doing to good effect because I think you were doing really cool stuff. Like Glorious End is another one that I think would be cool in the deck. The like take an extra turn and you lose the game at the end, at the end of the next turn or whatever, or end your opponent's turn. You went at the beginning of the next end step. You lose the game. I think that card is actually. So I have a historic version of this deck built, and that card's astounding in that deck. And the reason is that at the end of your turn, so you have the moment to end your opponent's turn, cast Gideon, and then not die. And that's something that the packs don't let you do, right? You can't cast Gideon on the turn after you use the ability. So I think that like that's a card that's really good. And like, let me tell all of our listeners, there's no better feeling in Magic than ending your opponent's turn against their will. Just glory sending someone.
I think Gideon, the Gideon portion of it, because I had a similar Gideon deck, like a Super Friends when I was playing in Historic. I think the Gideon plus Pact side of it is strong. I do think that there is something to be said for Scepter. I think that card is generally kind of underplayed, and I think like Scepter Angel's Grace is pretty good. Like that, there's like some decks that don't play a main deck way to get rid of an Isochron Scepter, and if you have that, they just like can't really win.
Yeah, like Scepter's value goes up. Scepter's value in game 1 is great, right? Because like decks don't have artifact tape, they won't bring that in against you. I think like how good K Command and Jund green, black, and black red decks are is proportional to how bad Scepter is going to be. But I do think right now there's a window where it's probably pretty good. I do think it gets worse also with the blue-red command that's coming out, the Strixhaven command.
Yeah.
Because that's like now 3 different color combos have like... Because like green-white has like... there's quite a bit of different random artifact hate that's out there that's adjacent. But like I do think there's decks that scoop to it. And sometimes it's like, okay, you used your 2-1 and I used my 4-drop and we both 2-for-1 each other, and now we move on with our lives, right? So it's not like, especially like the lightning bolt play, for 4 mana you bolt something, and then if they don't answer your threat, you now bolt the second thing, and if they don't, it's subsequent turns it gets better and better. So I do think Isochron Scepter is pretty sweet.
I think Chance for Glory would be the one. Chance for Glory is the white-red one, right? That's the red-white one, indestructible, extra turn, lose the game.
I don't. That one was always less impressive in Historic. It might be better. It might be better in this deck because you're getting like 6 4/4s that you're putting into play.
I was just going to say the thing about it that I think is especially cool in this version of the deck is that so much of your problem is that your 4/4 has to survive. So the idea that you have Gideon and like Angel's Grace and these cards that mean you don't lose the game, and you also have this thing that gets you an extra turn for 3 mana that also, as long as you have mana untapped to like use your Tail's End on their fetch land,
I don't think it's
creatures.
I don't think it's an extra turn. Lose the game. I think it's you get an extra attack step and they get indestructible.
No, definitely not. I've played it a lot in Historic. It's red, white, 1 instant.
Okay.
Indestructible. Take an extra turn after this one. At the beginning of that turn's end step, you lose the game.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong.
It's
correct. Yeah.
So in that sense, I mean, it does cost 3, which is a little wonky. But if you have a 4/4 that you've worked hard to get down, or even just like a Snapcaster Mage at a 4/4, right? Like let's say they kill one of your 4/4s on your like double Snapcaster turn. Having your like I counter your removal spell and also get an extra turn. Now on that turn, I'll play Gideon because that's in my hand and I won't lose the game. There's like some interplay there that's interesting. You have to go up from the 17 lands I was playing to probably more like 20 if you're going to be playing multiple Gideons and 3-drops.
But I think you can get away. I think there are enough lands that do stuff, from, you know, Loot House to, especially in that deck, Loot House is probably pretty good because you don't want to draw multiple Gideons, or you don't want to draw, you know, you don't want to get like a moment where you have like 4 blue packs in your hand and you don't have any of the cards that let you live through a blue pack, so you'll lose. You know, you can play like, and even just like some of the tap, like a 1 or 2 Celestial Colonnades if you're playing 22 lands, right? I think you can go up to regular land counts. There's enough lands that do stuff nowadays that also, that you get away with it.
On the subject of Scepter, right? Like, Scepter with any of your pacts, either of your pacts, a 4/4 every turn for 2 mana at instant speed, or a counterspell for 2 mana. As long as you have a Gideon down, if you have Gideon down, you won't lose the game.
Right.
You just do it every turn.
Yep.
So
yep.
I actually think Scepter is like a deceptively interesting card.
Like Scepter Pact Gideon is a soft lock, right? Like they have to cast 2 spells in a turn, and the second one has to kill Scepter or kill Gideon.
Yeah, or like Decay. Like Decay gets rid of it because you can't counter it. But
sure. But at that point, at that point, you don't lose the game immediately afterwards.
Sure. Back to the old days of the show.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
Talking Modern gets you all sure.
I know. It's back. It's back. I do think that, like, yeah, I don't know. The Pact decks, it works in Historic. I was having a lot of success with it. I can't imagine it like when you get cards that are better, even like Angel's Grace and Snapcaster Mage, like it feels like it's definitely something that works in Modern. And like even what I was saying, the command, the new one that's good against artifacts, is also good in your deck, right? Like you're gaining like more and more powerful cards. I think it's what I would recommend is the tempo side of that play, and moving away necessarily from the Delver Shell that I just don't think like cuts it anymore. For like more lands, the, you know, spells that end, like taking advantage of even more, like spells that like make it so your opponent loses the game, having the full playset of Gideons, just will allow you to take advantage of stuff, I think, just a little bit more thoroughly. Are you playing Ops? You were playing Ops, right? Or are you playing Serum Visions?
Serum Visions, because you want to, because of Delver, you're trying to dig too.
So yeah, so I think you move to Ops too, because they work with the Scepter. It's like your worst case scenario is you Scepter Opt and just like are drawing a card every turn for 2 mana. And scrying, right? Like it's like 1.2 cards every turn, which is like pretty. I would take that in a lot of in some matchups that's just going to win you the game anyways.
Right.
Yeah. So Scepter Pact is the deck we've just created.
Yeah, I mean, it seems really fun. I'll keep working on it. The other thing I was going to say that was so cool from this last week on top of that, and by the way, guys, we'll post the list in the description of this video. So if you're listening to this, you can check it out. I'll export it and make sure you guys can check it out.
Yeah, and there's a link there. If you go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/SamonCast, you're there already because this is a YouTube only video at this point. It will be, you can watch the game. We played 2 games against John and 2 games against Blue-White Control. And the deck was sweet against like a bad matchup, right? Like those are both pretty removal heavy decks, and you're like going all in on a 4/4 token on turn 1. And I still almost died, like almost every single game.
I mean, my favorite play is definitely the turn 2 on the play, turn 2 end of turn Pact, Snapcaster Pact. That's my favorite play in the deck. It's 10 power end of turn on turn 2 with like an Angel's Grace in hand. Just you're good. So. The other thing this last week on top of that was so fun was I did actually build the Kethis, or whatever the hell those things are in Commander, the red and the white Salamander and Horse, and had a blast with them. That deck was really sweet. That deck was really fun. I really like building decks in Commander. I have a very fun time with it.
I'm not surprised. That's my favorite. There was a reason I have like 30 decks right now, and him building more of them as we speak. Because it's sweet. In fact, you have homework that you have to make sure you do this weekend, which is build a new deck for Monday. Because we have Mana Curves and Joe from I Hate Your Deck joining us, and we're choosing Violence. The Walking Dead is a thing that happened to the internet. It was a limited edition secret lair that came out at the end of last year, or like in October. Can't believe that was that long ago. And people were unhappy about it. to the point where they're like really mean to any content creator or anyone who's like, oh, I kind of like these cards. And so because I hate when people bully my friends, we're going to live stream us playing a game pod of 4 people playing Walking Dead Commanders on Monday night. Stay tuned. I'm picking Glenn. Mostly because blue-white make a threat that draws you cards is like right up my alley, and he does that, so I'm here for it. And then I know Chase has Negan, and then the cards right here. Never gonna pronounce this. Mikon Jones. Joe has Mikon. Michonne. Have not watched the show.
You never watched The Walking Dead? Not even an episode?
I watched no, that's not true. I watched up to they got to the prison and everyone was sick, and I was like, I'm bored.
Right, that was early.
There was like season 1 was good. Season 2 they're on a farm and that was boring, and then season 3 they go to a prison, and then I was once again bored, and I was like, I'm good. I'm done. I'm not gonna watch the show over again.
I watched a lot of that show for a long time. It's been a minute, but
I just stopped caring. It was boring. It's not even like I was just bored, which shouldn't be true of a zombie show.
TV's gotten like so much better since that show started. I mean, there's some parts of that show that I think are sweet, and there are definitely characters in that show I really loved, and there are portions of that show that I love. But like, it was coming up in a time when like above average television was surprising, and now like every show that comes out is like masterclass television, or at least swinging for that.
Yep.
There's like very few shows anymore that come out that are like, so like by today's standard, The Walking Dead is just a very like 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 show.
Yep. And it's like one of those ones there's like, this is so successful that we're not going to let it go away. It's what happened to Lost, right? Like Lost was groundbreaking,
right.
Totally reinvented television. And then the creator's like, okay, we have enough content for 3 seasons. And ABC was like, nope, you're doing 12 and we're not going to let you go anywhere. And
David Lindelof, when I was a teenager, when I was working at Meltdown Comics in LA when I was 17 years old, came in and told me as they were going into season 4.
I'm gonna pause you here. So just really quickly, everyone watching this video, thank you so much. If you want to hear the rest of that conversation, make sure to check out our Patreon. It's $5 a month, and you get access to like a bunch of premium content every month. Every episode, you get it way early. You get it a full week early from when it gets released, as long as there's not a preview card or something like that. You also get a bonus 20 minutes to 30 minutes conversation. If you liked that Walking Dead conversation or conversation about TV and Joe, or me and Ben talking about entertainment, saying that as fast as I can, check out our Patreon. It's you get access to it. So we're going to continue that conversation there. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below with what decks, if you want to see us play modern, do more modern live streams. I know people really got a kick out of it. It's about me and Ben finding a time every week to really do it. So if we wanted to do it on a consistent weekly basis, finding it would be like an inconsistent schedule, or we'd figure it out. So definitely hit that like and subscribe button, the bell, if you want to get notified for when we go live. And then we'll and make sure to check out the stream on Monday. Joe and Chase are awesome, and we're gonna have a great time. Thanks everyone, and we will see you on the regular episode that comes out next week.
Cool.